The Denver Broncos did something that you almost never see in the NFL this past weekend. Down by 19 points, heading to the fourth quarter, shut out through 3 quarters in this ball game, and they exploded for 33 points in a single quarter to beat the New York Giants 33-32. Today we're going to break down just how rare of a moment this is, the plays that flipped the game, and some other historical comparisons we can point to. The Broncos offense was in an absolute box in the first 3 quarters. Bo Nix was having one of his worst games of the season. Sean Payton could not find a rhythm with his play calling, and this Giants defense that does have a ferocious pass rush with Dexter Lawrence and Brian Burns and Abdul Carter, they were causing a lot of problems for the Broncos and looked like this game was headed for maybe a shutout. Now the comeback really begins after a Tyron Tracy rushing touchdown to make it 19-0 with 2 minutes and 41 seconds left. A sneaky big play in this game is the 2-point attempt that followed the touchdown from Tracy. The Giants set up a pick play and Brandon Jones made an incredible play to tackle Wan'Dale Robinson short of the goal line. And finally, after getting some momentum, here came Sean Payton and Bo Nix. He made a very high level throw off some play action, layering the pass over this cornerback to Courtland Sutton. We saw running back J.K. Dobbins explode for a long run as well to get the Broncos inside Giants territory, and Denver was finally able to get on the board on 2nd and goal, and you could kind of sense the magic in the air after this play happened. Bo Nix fired to the end zone and was off a helmet of a Giants defender, and somehow Troy Franklin sliding caught it, and it was a touchdown. The Broncos would go for 2, and there was Courtland Sutton again making a dive-in attempt in the back of the end zone to make it 19-8 with 14 minutes and 8 seconds to go. And after that touchdown, everybody in the stadium had to be sensing, okay, here comes the Denver Broncos comeback. This is going to be a historic moment for us. But then Jackson Dart and the Giants moved it down the field. They had a 3rd and 17, and they had their own black magic kind of play. Theo Johnson caught this pass off a deflection on 3rd and 17, turned the corner and scored a touchdown to now make it 26-8 with 10 minutes to go. So now down by 18 points with less than 8 minutes to go, this is when the historic comeback began. We've only seen this one other time in NFL history. We have to go all the way back to 2003 when Peyton Manning and the Indianapolis Colts had a crazy comeback late in the 4th against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now this drive did take a couple of minutes for Denver, but Bo Nix was able to run in and score a touchdown to make it 26-14, and after completing another 2-point conversion, it was now a 10-point game with 5 minutes to go. But the next possession really shows us why this comeback became possible, because the number one thing you can't do if you want to keep a lead is turn the football over. And this is where I put some blame on Brian Daboll, because you have a young rookie quarterback in Jackson Dart, and you're forcing him to throw on 3rd and 5 against a great defense. And under some pressure, Jackson Dart threw a pass right to the hands of Justin Sternard, their linebacker, and he returned it all the way inside the 30. That allowed the Broncos to score in just a couple of plays with an RJ Harvey catch, and now the Broncos trailed by only 3 points with less than 4 minutes to go. The Giants then went 3 and out with Brian Daboll again trusting his young quarterback to throw the football, and so Denver, now down by 3 points, had over 2 minutes to go down the field and just get a field goal to tie this game and send it into overtime. But Bo Nix said forget about that, because a couple plays later he had the Broncos inside the red zone, and after this carry, the Broncos took the lead 30-26. But if this game could not get any crazier, the Giants then get the ball back with a chance to go win the game, and on 4th and 19, Jackson Dart makes one of the most incredible plays you'll ever see. And after a controversial pass interference down the right sideline, the Giants had the ball at the 1-yard line and scored a touchdown, retaking the lead after they just blew a 26-8 lead. And on came kicker Jude McIntyre to attempt an extra point to make it a 3-point game. Stunning everyone, this extra point would go wide right for his 2nd missed one of the game, opening the door for the Broncos to win this game, because all they needed was a field goal and they had over 30 seconds to go get it. This is when we saw Bo Nix step up in the pocket, and his very first pass got Denver inside the 50, and the very next play after that was Courtland Sutton down the field that got the Broncos well within field goal range. And for me, what is Shane Bowen doing here, the defensive coordinator for the Giants? Why is he only rushing 3? Why is he in this prevent defense? I don't understand why coaches do this, especially in today's NFL when kickers can easily hit field goals from 55, 60 plus yards. There was no reason to allow free yardage and let the quarterback just have all day to throw. And so ultimately that defensive game plan allowed Will Lutz to trot on and make a 39-yard field goal for the Broncos to escape with one of the craziest wins we've seen in recent memory. But in historical context, the Broncos set 2 new records this past weekend. The first being 33 points scored in the 4th quarter is the 2nd most by a single team in any quarter in NFL history. And and it's also the most by a team that has ever been shut out in the first 3 quarters, which is very specific, but also very, very rare. And the last time we've seen a team come back from 18 plus points in the 4th quarter, I bet you can't guess what game that was. It was the 28-3 match between the Atlanta Falcons and the New England Patriots and Tom Brady. And as we know, many people consider that maybe the craziest game in sports history, just having that huge of a lead at the biggest stage and completely blowing it. But considering all the circumstances and how lackluster Denver was for the first 3 quarters, this is one of the rarest 4th quarter collapses and wins you will see in modern pro football. I think the 2 biggest factors you have to point to on how the Giants blew this game was the conservative defensive play calling from Shane Bowen, but also the interception from Jackson Dart. As I mentioned, it's nearly impossible to have a comeback of this magnitude if the opposing team does not turn the football over. There's just simply not enough time in these games, especially late in the 4th, to have this many extended possessions and score touchdowns, so it is 100% needed to steal a possession, and that is what the Broncos did with that interception on Dart, and I think those 2 crucial mistakes were the reasons why the Broncos even had a chance to come back. Now for the Broncos, it'll be interesting to see how this game impacts them moving forward. Could this be a game that is big for their morale and is almost like a launch pad for the rest of the season, where they take this momentum and they just become one of the best teams in the league? Or is the first 3 quarters of this matchup going to be the Broncos team we see for the majority of this season? It's not controversial to say that Bo Nix has struggled largely this season so far, and Sean Payton's play calling has been very conservative at times. So my big question moving forward for this offense is, are we going to see that aggressive play calling and play style from Bo Nix that we saw in that 4th quarter, because the Broncos had to play like that? Or are we continuously going to see the conservative play calling from Sean Payton and the lack of deep ball accuracy from Bo Nix? That is what I'm looking forward to seeing moving forward for Denver. I believe they have more than enough weapons on offense. Their offensive line is one of the best in the league. It comes down to the quarterback play of Bo Nix and just the synergy with head coach Sean Payton. He's bragged routinely now in the media saying Nix is going to become one of the best quarterbacks in the league, and so far in year number 2, we don't really see that, so hopefully by the end of the season we can revisit that conversation. Now for the Giants, they were never supposed to win this game. They were an over touchdown underdog on the road. It was a very tough spot going into a hostile environment, but I won't lie to you, this is a massive disappointment because they could have been 3-4 in the thick of the playoff race in the NFC. While the Giants offense has been very impressive ever since Dart took over and Cam Scadaboo's been utilized more, when you have these type of performances, there's naturally going to be some questions raised if Brian Daboll deserves another year. I've been impressed with the development of Dart so far, so I do think the leash of Daboll should be a little bit longer, but there seriously can't be more results that mirror this one, or I will have to reevaluate my thought process on that. But I hope everybody realizes the absolute cinema and historic comeback we saw this past weekend. Teams had won 1,602 consecutive games when leading by 18 plus points with 6 minutes to play, and this just so happened to take place on the honoring of Demaryius Thomas. Coincidence? I think not. But I hope you enjoyed this breakdown of one of the craziest games in NFL history. If you are new to the channel, be sure to subscribe and drop a like in the video if you did enjoy it. But I want to know what you think in the comment section below. Did the Giants just blow this game, or did the Broncos flat out steal it? I want to know what you think in the comment section below. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys in my next one.